Early 7 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean, there is a place that should not support life. The pressure would collapse a tank like tinfoil. The darkness is absolute, the cold is relentless. And yet something is moving down there. Creatures with bones designed to bend instead of break, crustaceans wearing armor forged from metal, entire civilizations built on a food source that has nothing to do with the sun. We've sent more people to the moon than to the bottom of this place. This is the Mariana Trench, and we're going all the way down somewhere in the western Pacific between Japan, the Philippines and Guam. The ocean floor rips open a gash in the Earth's crust 1,500 miles long, 40 miles wide, and at its deepest point a narrow slot called Challenger Deep. It plunges nearly 36,000 feet into darkness, 11,000 meters. If you took Mount Everest, all 29,000 feet of it, and dropped it into the trench, the summit would still be buried under more than a mile of black water. This trench exists because the Earth is tearing itself apart. The Pacific Plate is diving beneath the Mariana Plate, in a process called subduction. One slab of the planet's crust being swallowed by another. It's been happening for millions of years, slowly, violently dragging the ocean floor deeper and deeper into the mantle. For most of human history, scientists looked at those numbers, the pressure, the cold, the darkness, and made a simple assumption: nothing could survive down there. They were wrong, spectacularly, disturbingly wrong. What lives in the Mariana Trench doesn't just survive. It thrives, and the deeper you go, the more it feels like you've left Earth entirely. 200 meters down, the sun hasn't disappeared. Its dying blues and greens drain away. Reds are already gone. The ocean is swallowing the light, and there's no getting it back. Welcome to the mesopelagic zone. Scientists call it the Twilight Zone, and the creatures here have responded to the vanishing light in the most hauntingly beautiful way imaginable. They made their own bioluminescence, living light. Down here it's not rare, it's the rule. Jellyfish pulse with cold blue fire. Lanternfish, the single most abundant vertebrate on the planet, carry rows of light organs along their bodies like tiny cities seen from space. But the one that should unsettle you, the atolla jellyfish. When something attacks an atolla, it doesn't flee, it doesn't fight, it screams. A spinning ring of blazing blue bioluminescence erupts from its body, a distress signal so bright it can be seen from hundreds of meters away. Scientists call it the burglar alarm. It's designed to do one thing: attract something bigger, something terrifying enough to make the attacker run. It calls the monster to save itself from the monster. And here's what's chilling. In December 2025, researchers from the California Academy of Sciences pulled monitoring devices from the upper reaches of this zone, near Guam, devices that had been sitting in the dark collecting for 7 years inside. Over 2,000 specimens, at least 20 species completely unknown to science, including a hermit crab that had abandoned its snail shell, the thing every hermit crab on Earth uses, and was living inside a clamshell instead. No one has ever documented that behavior, not once in all of marine biology. 7 years of silence. And when we finally listened, the Twilight Zone had been busy. We're at 1,000 meters, and here's the thing: we haven't even reached the deep sea yet. Below this line, the sun is gone forever. Everything that follows has never seen light. Keep descending. The midnight zone, then the abyss. 2 words both earned below 1,000 meters. The darkness isn't just dark, it's absolute, the kind of dark where your eyes will never adjust, no matter how long you wait. The only light that exists down here comes from things that are alive and usually there. Using that light to hunt food is scarce. There are no plants, no algae, no photosynthesis. Everything that lives in this void depends on one thing: marine snow. It sounds poetic. It's not. Marine snow is a slow, ceaseless rain of death, dead organisms, fecal matter, decaying tissue, all sinking from the sunlit world above. It falls like ash after a fire, and it is the only food source for miles of open water. Entire civilizations are built on falling corpses, and wading through this graveyard on the seafloor, the sea pig, yes, that's its real name, a pink translucent blob, the size of your fist, with stubby little tube feet snuffling through the mud like a hog in a field. It's a sea cucumber. It's absurd. And it has a secret. Scientists at MBARI Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute discovered that baby king crabs attach themselves to the undersides of sea pigs. They cling there, riding them, using them as living body armor. The sea pig gets nothing out of this. It's just being used, a slow pink unwitting service for hitchhiking crabs. We still don't fully understand why, but the thing that broke my brain.
Xenophyophores, imagine a single cell. One cell. Now imagine it's 4 inches wide. One of the largest single-celled organisms ever discovered. They carpet the abyssal floor, building elaborate structures from sediment and the skeletons of dead organisms, tiny architects constructing cities out of bones and mud. 1 cell. Building a house. In the dark. Under thousands of tons of pressure, this is life refusing to quit. We're halfway to the bottom. If you want to see what's waiting at the deepest point on Earth, subscribe. Because what we found at 11,000 meters changes everything. 6,000 meters. We just crossed into the Hadal zone, named after Hades, god of the dead. And the name is not a metaphor, the pressure here exceeds 1,000 atmospheres. Imagine the weight of a fully loaded 747, now balance it on your thumbnail. That's what every square inch of your body would feel. Your lungs would collapse instantly. Your bones would shatter. Most submarines ever built would implode at this depth. The water is 1 to 4 degrees Celsius. Barely above freezing. The darkness hasn't changed, it's still total. It will always be total, nothing should be alive here, and then the submersible lights hit something moving, the Mariana snailfish. The deepest living fish ever recorded. Found between 6,000 and 8,000 meters, a pale, ghostly, translucent thing that looks like it was never meant to be seen. 4 to 11 inches long. Tiny, barely functional eyes. A body like a living whisper, but inside. A masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, its skeleton is soft. Not bone, cartilage. With deliberate gaps. Because at this pressure, rigid bones don't bend. They explode. So the snailfish evolved a skeleton that absorbs the crushing force like a sponge, and in every single cell of its body, there's a molecule called TMAO, trimethylamine N oxide, that physically prevents its proteins from being crushed flat. A chemical pressure suit. Built into its DNA, this fish didn't adapt to the abyss. It was engineered for it, and it's not alone, amphipods. Tiny crustaceans. 2 inches long, max. They swarm the Hadal zone by the thousands, feeding on marine snow. But here's what makes them extraordinary: at this depth, the calcium carbonate that most sea creatures use for their shells dissolves. The pressure eats it away. So Hadal amphipods did something impossible. They pull aluminum ions, metal, from the seafloor sediment and weave it into their exoskeletons. They are wearing armor forged from the Earth itself, and then, in July 2025, a Chinese submersible exploring the Kuril-Kamchatka and Aleutian trenches sent back images that stunned the scientific community. Tube worms. Mollusks. Not isolated. Not rare. Dense, thriving colonies at over 31,000 feet. 9.5 kilometers beneath the surface. Julie Huber, a deep-sea microbiologist at Woods Hole, said it best: "Look how many there are. Look how deep they are. They don't all look the same, and they're in a place we haven't had good access to before. These creatures may be powered by chemosynthesis, bacteria processing carbon that's been trapped in the trench for millions of years, leaking through cracks in the ocean floor as chemical energy. No sunlight. No marine snow. A completely independent food chain, powered by nothing but the Earth's geology. An alien ecosystem. On our own planet. And we just found it last year. So the deepest, most hostile environment on our planet is teeming with life. Life that builds metal armor. Life that invented its own food chain. Life that rewrote the rules of biology. But there's one more thing they found at the bottom. And this one doesn't inspire wonder. It inspires shame. In 2019, Victor Vescovo climbed into a submersible and dove to the floor of Challenger Deep. 35,853 feet. The deepest solo descent in human history. He saw things no human had ever seen. Rock formations carved over millennia. New species flickering at the edge of his floodlights, and then he saw a plastic bag and candy wrappers. At the absolute bottom of the world. Nearly 7 miles below the surface. In a place only a handful of humans have ever witnessed with their own eyes, there was garbage. Since that dive, researchers have found microplastics embedded in the bodies of Hadal amphipods, the ones with the metal armor. The creatures that evolved over millions of years to survive the most extreme pressure on Earth are eating our trash. Let that sit for a second. We've explored less than 5% of the ocean floor. We are still finding creatures that rewrite everything we thought we knew about biology, organisms with flexible skeletons, chemical-powered civilizations, single cells the size of your fist, and somehow, our garbage got there before we did. Life found a way. And so did our worst habits. If this changed how you see the ocean, even a little, share it with someone, and if you want to keep going deeper, I made a video about 5 ocean sounds that scientists still cannot explain. One of them was recorded at the bottom of the Pacific, and we have no idea what made it. It's right here. I'll see you in the dark.